Hi, hello, hi. This is my first video essay, so please come in a little bit of slack. Okay, so now that we're on the same page, let's get started. Anime is great, anime is fun, anime is popular, anime is even cinema. Dare I say, anime is beautiful. Yes, I do. Anime is beautiful. Well, video's over. That was easy. Not so fast. I haven't told you why anime is beautiful, and that's exactly what I plan on doing today. However, first we need to discuss why people disregard it.
Yo,
Yeah,
do you consider anime as cinema?
yeah.
You were supposed to say no.
Thank you, past me. I really appreciate you. Okay, so anime is a lot more accepted than it once was. However, I would like to expand on why anime is cinema and why it is beautiful, specifically the visuals. I think a good place to start is the definition of cinema, and according to merriam-webster.com, cinema is motion picture. But most of us professional movie watchers use cinema as a term that describes what makes a movie or any visual media an actual piece of work worth watching, essentially why said project is beautiful. Did I just make my own definition to specifically fit the narrative I want to tell? Yes. Will you continue watching? Hopefully. Let's get started. The use of animation opens up so many opportunities for visual storytelling and really enhances the emotion conveyed in any scene. Animation, if used correctly, can surpass live action. Let me show you. There are three main parts of animation I want to talk about. How do I pronounce that word? Mise-en-scène. 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 There are three main parts of animation I want to talk about. Mise-en-scène, the characterization of the world in film, cinematography, the use of the camera movement, framing, and the use of close-ups in anime, and editing, like why does anime tend to have longer shots in live action, or the use of internal dialogue, and generally just how everything is edited together. First, the mise-en-scène. Attack on Titan has perfected the mise-en-scène to the T. The world always feels alive and like it's own character. Giving the world its own personality is much harder in live action than it is in anime. There are a lot more variables at play, from extras looking straight at the camera, to extras not looking natural, to even production design having its limits, whether it's practical or CGI. But in animation, it's debatably easier to make a complete world that feels alive and like its own character. Some live action worlds that could possibly be held within the same conversation of world building as animation is Gotham City in 1989's Batman and Lord of the Rings. And obviously there's many more. There's people whose jobs are specifically making the world come to life, but sadly it's just not talked about as much among everyday watchers. So the question is, how do they bring these worlds together and feel like a character in its own right? Well, the process varies between projects, so for this example we're going to look at the world of Attack on Titan. There's one specific variable I want to focus on in the world of Attack on Titan, and that is acting performance. However, I want to split acting performance into two parts: voice acting and animation. The scene we're going to break down is Levi versus Kenny Squad in Season 3, Episode 2, Episode 39 within the whole show's, count. 1. Acting performance. Levi's Japanese voice actor. Let me double check Google to make sure I pronounce it right. Levi's Japanese voice actor, Hiroshi Kamiya. 1. Acting performance. Levi's Japanese voice actor, Hiroshi Kamiya, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation, is honestly mostly just grunting in the scene, but hey, I give credit where credit's due. The guy knows how to grunt. For real though, whenever he has dialogue in the scene, it never takes you out of the action. His delivery is completely believable and only adds to the adrenaline. He sounds stressed and confused, and due to the internal dialogue and flashbacks, we get to see the story unfold in real time as Levi is trying to process and put everything together. But we wouldn't be able to appreciate Hiroshi's performance nearly as much if the animation was any less amazing and fluid as it is. Alright, I got another name to search up. Alright, Google didn't teach me anything, so I'm gonna guess. Arifumi Imai, who on episode 39 worked as action animation director, key animation, and PV part storyboard, stated that this roughly 1 minute 15-second scene took 1 month to animate. The execution of both animation and acting go hand in hand to help create the mise-en-scène. Mise-en-scène. You know what I mean. Next. Now we're on to part 2, cinematography. Oh man, I love cinematography, and pretty soon you are too. Now say thank you. Now for the 3 parts of cinematography I want to focus on: the use of camera movement, framing, and the use of close-ups in anime. So looking back at this amazing Levi scene, the use of camera movement is debatably the most prominent part of the scene. The scene has a ton of camera movement as we're following Levi being chased by Kenny and his squad. Levi goes between buildings, alleyways, and at the end he lands on the bar. See, this one was pretty simple, at least in my mind. The camera movement works differently for this scene. It's not like a sit-down conversation where the camera breaks the 180 rule to convey a subtle message like power shifts or anything like that. It's used less in a super literal, deep thinking type of way and more of an artistic sense to help the chase feel stressful, fast-paced, and to really showcase Levi's skills with the ODM gear. I think the most effective use of camera movement is when they use the one takes. There are a total of 3 throughout the chase. One right at the beginning when Levi is running from only Kenny, another a few seconds after when 3 military police soldiers find him, and one final one when the 3 soldiers find him again. These 3 takes span 3 different lengths in time. The first one is roughly 6 seconds long, the second one is about 8 seconds long, and the final one is almost 10 seconds. With each one getting longer, Levi has more to do in an attempt to get away from Kenny's squad. For the 6-second take, Levi is simply running down and sliding off a roof, then using his ODM gear to swing away. For the 8 seconds, he swings in reverse and pulls himself towards the ground, then turns himself forward again while still staying close to the ground, going in between a pair of wagons, dodging the bullets that are being shot at him, and finally using his arms to push off a box. And during the 10 seconds, it gets even cooler. It starts with him again dodging bullets by running and swinging on walls and transitioning onto some scaffolding, followed by him sliding down the scaffolding to him then getting off the scaffolding as a bullet grazes his forehead, which then leads to him swinging close to the floor again, which then leads to him swinging under what looks to be some alleyway shops, which finally leads him towards a straight shot into the bar. Wow, the amount of detail that went into these takes are insane. Attack on Titan's fans should be grateful. And we are, trust me, we still haven't stopped talking about this scene. And I think that proves how effective the cinematography was in the scene. People still haven't stopped talking about it. And it's not like it's just film nerds talking about the scene, it's everyone. These takes are so essential to the stress of the scene, and it really gives characterization to Levi, showing that he truly is the best that the Scout Regiment has to offer. And finally, we get to discuss the editing. Wow. Editing is how any given animation communicates to the audience, and the editors themselves are very important for the finished product. Screen Skills states, editors shape the whole animation. They craft the telling of the story from the start to the production to the finish. At the beginning, they worked with the writer, director, and producer discussing the script and the storyboard. End quote. Editing really brings everything together, you know? If you're thinking about it within a different context, the cinematography is the heart, the mise-en-scène are the bones, arteries, you know, that stuff, and the editing is the skin that wraps everything together. Sounds kinda nasty, but it's true. The long takes are great, but what about how they're sequenced? The shots themselves are great, but is there good music to accompany? The characters are doing cool stuff, but do you know why they're doing what they're doing? Do you even know what they're thinking at that very moment? All of these are essential to good storytelling, but editing within the world of animation has one pro going for them: internal dialogue. When was the last time you saw internal dialogue in live action? Can't think of anything? Yeah, me neither. And to be clear, I'm not talking about narration. We're not having someone explain the story to us, we're figuring out the story with the characters.
Guess I kind of lucked out. Before Dina, I mostly just kept to myself. I'm not the kind of person that likes attention.
Kenny, よりによってなぜ奴がケンペに?
Internal dialogue provides a different avenue for quick and easy exposition, or just for helping the audience understand what's going on in the character's mind. For example, when Levi is being chased, he's simultaneously assessing the situation and how Kenny was able to track them, while also revealing Levi initially knew Kenny as a child. Throughout this scene, Levi only has 2 lines internally. However, they aren't just throwaway lines, they serve a purpose in the overall story, one more than the other. The first line is Levi simply saying that the Scout Regiment was tracked. It's simple enough dialogue, but it helps the audience start pondering the same question. If not even one of the most useful characters has an answer to a current conundrum, it helps the audience engage with what's going on screen and theorize just how that happened. Essentially, audience retention. Think of it kind of like a checkpoint. Next on the wonders of editing, how does the score play into the... Sorry, what was that? You know what the score is? Don't worry, I got you. According to StudioBinder.com, a film score is an original piece of music that is written and tailored for a specific film. Film scores are composed to enhance a film story and emotion. Film score composers create the music for a film based on the direction given from the director. The composer often meets with the director to spot a film and determine whether music should be present. And you may be thinking, oh, but Isaac, isn't that just called a soundtrack? No. If you keep reading, it states, film scores are different from a film soundtrack. The score of a film is tailored specifically for what is happening in the film on screen. A soundtrack, on the other hand, may contain songs that are independent from the movie itself that were not made solely for this film. Bullet points, Isaac, bullet points. Okay, fine. Score is used for tone, mood, tempo, emotion, and atmosphere. This is soundtrack. And this is score.
My soldiers push forward! My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage!
Do you have a rough understanding of the score now? Yes? Great. I just realized while explaining to you what the score is, I indirectly explained what it's used for as well. Great. In conclusion, anime is cinema and cinema is great, which means animation is great. And anime is animation. One could say anime is beautiful. Thank you very much. Video essay's over.